welcome. I see we're missing a good amount of people from last week. That's totally okay. People come and go. It's alright. We'll hopefully see them next week. So did anybody do the homework from last week? So last week was the... Oh my gosh, I thought the homework was up here. Huh, well it's not up there. But you know what the homework was last week? It was to talk to or join your partner from last week at least once. Did anybody do that? At a non-sanctioned event. It was on your own time. Nobody did it?
I was busy and I reached out to him on Discord and talked to him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright.
I'm a failure of a student, sorry.
That's the second week in a row you missed a homework comment, so I mean it happens.
Hey, I did my homework last week, don't even!
Oh, that's true.
I was the one person who did.
That's true. Alright. Well, with that being said, we do have a new person. Ash, welcome to the club. So, Ash, can you do me a favor? And what is your name, your age, your favorite thing about yourself, and what would you like to get out of the club? Do you talk, Ash?
I don't think he speaks.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You don't speak, Ash? You don't? Okay, gotcha, that's fine. Alright.
I speak sometimes.
You speak sometimes? Okay. Well, today we have, obviously we're in a new classroom setting. You can see this map is custom made for our class specifically. We have an awesome No Friends Friends Club logo at the center here, which is pretty sweet if you ask me. This map is made by Zero and Kelsey. Kelsey's right here, but Zero unfortunately isn't here right now. But they made this map special for our club and our club only. Hopefully with this being a public world, well not specifically this instance, but the world itself being public would mean that we can get more people to want to reach out and become a part of this community. So it's super exciting. With that being said, there are lots of cool features, like we have our own bulletin board here. The bulletin board is advertising our Werewolf weekend games, the Battle Disc tournaments on Fridays, which is after this, our Discord, and my stream as well, along with the club poster as well. So if you guys have anybody that might want to be a part of the No Friends Friends Club, feel free to invite them here. With that being said, we are going to start doing a question of the day. So right here on my right, you can see we have a question of the day. And the question of the day today is, what do people do that irritates you the most? We'll start with Brian.
He's working.
Brian's AFK, so Kelsey.
The thing that irritates me the most is when I'm talking to somebody and somebody interrupts and talks over me. Because it makes me feel like what I have to say is less important than what the person's interrupting me saying.
Comment?
I don't know if this is the thing that irritates me the most, but it's definitely something that really annoys me, is whenever somebody, like, says something, or, like, sends a message, and then, like, doesn't, like, they delete it or something, or, like, I didn't hear them, and then they won't tell me what they said. That bothers me. I want to know what they said. I'm too curious.
Okay. Potato?
I don't know.
Not sure? You have anything that bothers you that people do at all?
Nah.
You're just totally okay with everything. Everything people do, everything everyone does is totally okay. Nothing annoys you.
About what people do.
Right, that's good. You don't pay attention to a lot of people and don't let them bother you. Ash?
The same thing as Kelsey.
I'm sorry?
The same thing as Kelsey.
Oh, gotcha. Being interrupted and stuff? Right. Tron, what about you? Did you get your mic? You haven't gotten your mic yet? Okay, well what bothers me the most about people are people who don't listen after you've told them something multiple times. That gets pretty irritating for me, because it feels like they're ignoring me. It feels like they don't actually care about anything I have to say. So, those kind of things bother me a lot. With that being said, today's topics, we have at the top left, you can see we put our topics for specifically today's meeting, and the topics are anxiety in the moment and distractions in conversation. So anxiety in the moment, that covers pretty much when you are not expecting anxiety to affect you and it just kind of sneaks up on you and attacks you out of nowhere. Those kind of moments are when it's the hardest to deal with anxiety. There's a lot of different types of anxiety when it comes to things that we are expecting. For instance, like, let's say there's a big test coming up, right? We kind of expect that anxiety to come and hit us. We can see that coming towards us. As far as like relationships as well, those are kind of anxieties we can expect. Let's say there's a conversation you have to have with your partner, and you get really anxious before that conversation. Those are kind of planned anxieties, right? And then there's the unplanned anxiety. That is the anxiety where you are sitting at maybe like the doctor's office or something, and they call your name. And now, no, you were feeling fine a couple of seconds ago, but now there's a ton of things going through your head, right? It's like, do I have enough money for this appointment? What are they going to tell me? What are they going to make me do? I have to do some tests. I have to get shots, blood work, right? There's that kind of random sneak up anxiety. Or you could be hanging out with some friends, and now nowhere a new person walks up, and you have no idea who this person is, but they know your friend. Hey, Vision, good to see you. Welcome. And they could be talking. What's up? Oh, you said hi? Hi.
I was gonna say, I know you're there, but your avatars are over there.
I see.
And I'm hearing you in both places.
Oh, it's the seat thing, huh? Right. Okay. You might have to leave and rejoin to get the fix. With that being said, so anxiety where someone comes up out of nowhere and they know your friend, some random person knows your friend, but you don't know them, and they're getting along super well. Now we're like excluded from the conversation. It feels like we don't fit in anymore. It's like we're just kind of sitting there waiting to be called on and waiting to be like initiated on. So those kind of anxieties sneak up out of nowhere. With that being said, what is it specifically for you guys that triggers your anxiety in a social environment? Kelsey, you want to start?
I'm gonna need some time to think. Give me a
Comment?
second.
Anything?
That's a difficult question. I feel like strangers. Like, whenever I don't know somebody. Because for me, my anxiety happens a lot whenever it's like somebody that I don't know. But after I like introduce myself and like we talk for a minute, then it's okay. So I guess like just I guess the unknown.
Kelsey, do you have a little thing?
No, I get what Comment's saying, like the whole unknown factor, right?
Right, just like not knowing what's happening, kind of get that feeling of overwhelmed, being like overwhelmed and such.
Yeah.
Potato, do you have anything?
What they said.
Vision. So the question was, what is it that triggers your anxiety? It could be a specific, or it could be vague. Whatever feels like it troubles you.
Feeling left out. I mean, that's really vague, but like, I'm pretty sure most people can understand what that means.
Right. Like
if there's
everybody.
a group of people and you're your friends, and then they like go off and do something, and they don't invite you, or like you go up to walk to them, and then they like ignore you, or like they don't ignore you, but they don't hear you or something.
Right. Exclusion. Exclusion in general. Comment?
I have another thing. On top of the stranger thing, if I'm talking to somebody that I don't really know and they express like pretty much any sort of not disagreement, but like any sort of negative thing towards me, like oh, that was kind of weird that you did that. Like anytime they like say anything negative about me, it's like I just overthink everything after that point.
Right. It might not even be something that they're directly like insulting to you. They're just saying something about you. You can always take it in a way where it's like, dang, this person freaking hates me. Yeah, no, I get it.
Exactly.
Ash, do you have anything?
What was the question?
The question was, do you have anything that triggers your anxiety? Anything in particular? It could be vague. It could be specific.
When I'm freely talking and someone says no one asked.
Right. So when someone just completely shoots you down, right? You generally want to like have a question. You want to know something, and they just completely ignore you, or they throw you aside because they either don't care about you or they don't know who you are, so it's not important. Right. Understandable. So with that being said, anxiety like that can sneak up on you, but it's really, really important to remember that a lot of times anxiety can stem from just in your head, right? For instance, where it wouldn't apply is something like what Ash said, where someone just kind of shoots you down. It's right up front. It's like you're getting punched in the face. You can't say you're not getting punched in the face because it's happening right then and there. And those moments are really difficult to deal with anxiety because, one, we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So if we have like a panic attack, we don't want to just freak out right in the moment, or else we might be embarrassed. Two, we might not have a backup plan. Let's say that happens and Ash is just kind of stuck there in a situation where he has no idea how to get out of. So those moments can be really, really, really scary. It's really important when these moments are happening that you have someone you can go and talk to. This is probably rule number 1 when it comes to dealing with anxiety. Knowing who to go to and who to talk to. If you have a buddy system, you can probably find someone in the club that you can make your buddy, right? Let's say I'm talking to somebody in public, I have nowhere near my buddy, but I get into a situation like Ash said, where somebody just completely shuts me down and I start feeling really anxious and I start panicking. The best thing to do is diffuse your panic attack at that moment, so that way something doesn't happen to where you do something you might regret. So for me, personally, when I'm panicking, I find it really helpful to get all my thoughts out onto paper. Onto Discord, onto a chat, somewhere, anywhere, right? If you have a buddy that you can make in either this club or outside of the club, doesn't matter, but if you have a buddy that doesn't mind you flooding their text, flooding their Discord DMs with just, hey, I'm freaking out right now. This is why I'm freaking out, and they send you all the reason why they're freaking out. Hey, thanks for listening to my DM. That's it, right? That small system can really help you kind of learn how to diffuse your anxiety faster and quicker and more efficient. So a big suggestion for that would be to have a buddy system, and this is a great place to find somebody to buddy up with. So how do you guys personally deal with the anxiety when that happens? That's how I would deal with it. What about you guys? What is a way you would diffuse it? Elsie?
I don't diffuse it.
You just kind of let it be its thing?
And try to deal with it myself.
Comment?
In that kind of situation, I think I would just leave. Like, I'd make up some excuse where I could get out, be like, oh, sorry, I gotta go, and then just, like, straight up leave. If I couldn't leave, then I would definitely go quiet and, like, stop talking, and probably just, like, go on my phone and, like, go on, like, Tumblr or something to get my mind
something
off
to
of
distract
what I'm
yourself,
freaking out
right?
about.
Just to get off of this topic, right? Just get out of here. So again, that's another way. This is not a really great way to say, but avoidance, right? It's essentially avoidance. You are
avoidance
dodging.
is my,
You're
main
dodging the issue. And obviously it's not a permanent solution, but it's a very quick and temporary solution. Vision, do you have any way you are able to do it?
My anxiety, I feel like, is a little bit unique in the way of I don't really have a lot of people to talk to IRL.
Right.
So I don't get it IRL, but when I'm in VRChat, it definitely happens. So when that happens, I just go to a random game world, and usually whenever you join a random game world, everyone's there just to have fun or whatever, so you can forget about it.
So immersing yourself in an environment where the energy is high and positive, getting yourself to an environment you can just like snap to. Now, what do you do when there's no option like that? Let's say it's an IRL thing, job interview, meet up with friends, a party.
I haven't had that stuff.
Right. Okay. So it's not been exposed to you yet. Anybody else have anything? What do you do to deal with anxiety? Potato? Ash?
I go into a random Discord server and look at the memes because they're really funny.
Right. So you get a little laughter. You want to brighten up your spirits a bit, right? Because after you get, told nobody cares about you, you just kind of want to brighten yourself up, kind of cheer yourself up. A lot of people, for instance, will order their favorite meal, right? I know food cheers me up. I love food, so if I'm ever feeling really anxious, sitting down, watching some videos, and eating some good food always makes me feel better. So it's good that we shared different kinds of ways. Hope you guys can take that in and kind of see maybe if there's better ways that you could deal with your anxiety and things like that. So has anybody ever lost a friend due to their anxiety? Have you ever lost a friendship because of it? Have you ever panicked so bad that somebody said, "Get away from me, I don't want to deal with your panic attacks, this is too much for me"? Anybody? Comment?
Kind of. She didn't, like, say, hey, your anxiety is too much for me, but, like, we were supposed to go on a trip together, right? And I'm an anxious person, so I wanted to bring, like, my mom or, like, my sister, somebody that's, like, one of my trusted people.
Right.
And she told me that, I was making things too complicated, and, like, that I should basically just, like, get over it. And so she didn't outright say that my anxiety was too much for her, but after she said that, I felt like I had a really hard time trusting her again. And so, like, I was the one to kind of break off the friendship because I didn't feel like I could be myself around her anymore.
Right. Anybody else?
What was the question?
Have you ever lost any friends due to your anxiety? Like, have you had a moment where you're venting to somebody and they say, this is too much, I can't talk to you about this anymore?
Oh, I don't think I've experienced that.
Alright, that's good. Ash, anything? Alright, so a lot of times our panic attacks can be a little overwhelming for people, right? We talked about conversing last week. We talked about different kind of conversations, and we practice our conversations. So let's think about to last week. We had the speed questions, correct? We had speed questions last week. Let's say we were bombarding this person with questions, but they had no answers for our questions, and we just kept asking these questions over and over again. It's kind of like that. For some people, when they're attacked with a lot of venting and a lot of personal issues, they can get kind of scared. So it's important that when we're talking to our friends and our family and the people that are helping us with our anxiety, we think about what they're receiving. A lot of times we'll overthink it and say, this is too much, I can't talk to this person because I feel so bad that I'm doing this to them. But when you're venting about anxiety to somebody, it's really important to check up on them and say, hey, is this too much? Like, am I being too much? Are you okay? And most times out of 10, they will say, no, you're good, keep going, I'm here for you, right? Most of the time, once you're already at that point of venting, they understand that this is a serious issue for you and that you are, that they're helping you. So after you get everything off your chest to somebody and they get all your anxiety out, it's really important to thank them. No matter what they do, thank them. Thank them that they listened to you, thank them that they were there for you for that moment, especially if they're trying to help you as far as advice goes. A lot of times, a lot of us don't even seek advice, right? We don't want to get advice from somebody who doesn't quite understand, and that's totally okay too, but it's still important to thank them for actually listening to you in those conversations. Alright, so with that being said, today's exercise actually is a group exercise. This is going to be, everybody's going to be involved for this one. We are all going to go to the gymnasium, so everyone can hop out of their seats and head over to the gym portal, which is right over here on my left.
I'm gonna restart VRChat.
Hi guys, good to see you. Hi Imu, hi Orin. Hi Selfish. Hi Pugs. Good to see you guys. So that didn't bring us all into the same instance for some reason, so I'll have to re-invite everybody just through my friends list, which is going to be a little tough.
What is this?
And for some reason it didn't take us all through. Normally we'll... Last time we did it, it brought everybody through, but I guess not this time.
Oh. Me and Ash were in a we're in a different instance, I guess.
Yeah, that was weird.
Exactly.
Very weird.
Wonky.
Right. So everybody
You
form
missed it.
a
I
circle.
tried to dunk on him and I hit my ceiling.
Everyone form a circle right around this center area right here. We are missing Brian. I'm assuming Brian's busy working. And that is okay.
Missing Vision.
We're missing Vision. Vision said he's restarting. I heard him say it right before. So we'll wait for Vision to get here.
KS.
Hi Axie, good to see you. Alright, so the exercise initially was supposed to be a kind of like a simulation environment where we would do our best to distract two people in the center having a conversation. So two people would volunteer, they'd step in the center, and on the outside our mission would be to distract them and try to create a environment to make it difficult for them to have a conversation. that would simulate kind of a pressured environment. Have you guys ever been in a crowded room and you're talking to people and you can't hear what the heck the person in front of you is saying? This is kind of a exercise to help us try and focus on people and focus on the conversation, because a lot of people who have different kind of disabilities that causes them to lose track of what the objective is, this would be a great exercise for you. So instead of doing that, because I plan on doing that with a much larger crowd, and obviously today's class is a little bit smaller than usual, we're actually going to do a different way of doing this exercise. So 2 people in the center, they're going to still have the conversation as normal, except the people on the outside, you're all just going to stare and listen to the conversation. So this creates the same kind of environment of being focused on by other people, which could make it a little bit uncomfortable for some people that are having the conversation in the center. But at the same time, this will help us to better develop ourselves as far as concentration. Try your best not to think about us looking at you, us focusing on you on the outside, and only focus on the person that's right in front of you in the center of the ring. So, would anybody like to volunteer to be the first 2 people to go? I'm going to pick 2 people. I'm going to pick Ash and Vision. So, the 2 of you, please step into the center. Alright, so we have some topics for you guys to discuss. There is food, VRChat, school, video games, what would you do with $1 million, favorite YouTubers or streamers, and music. So you can pick anything that you want. It doesn't have to be any of the topics that I gave examples of, but I want you 2 to have as long of a discussion you guys can have together in the center of the ring while we all stand on the outside and look at you.
Okay, oh no.
You starting to feel the pressure of people on the outside watching?
So I'm guessing you like Pokemon, right?
Yes.
Is Mew your favorite?
No, actually Garchomp is.
Garchomp. Ooh, Sinnoh. That was my favorite region.
Yes. Sorry, my controller is bugging right
That's
now.
okay.
No, yeah. Have you heard of oh no.
You okay, Ash? Keep going.
Have you heard have you heard of the new game of Pokemon, like Pokemon Sword and Shield? They just actually released a new Game Pass not a while ago. It was actually like a year ago.
Yeah, I heard about it.
I have been playing it so much I haven't been able to sleep.
Well, that's not good. Sleep is pretty important.
Yes. No, but yeah, I'm just sitting either on my chair or on my bed, just playing it all day. It's just really fun. Just catching all the new released Pokemon is just a wonder.
That's pretty cool. I haven't actually played any of the newer games because I don't have a Switch. Otherwise, I'd add you.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's your favorite drink? Like, what do you like? Do you like?
I'd probably say. My favorite drink I've actually never considered. Probably like 7-Up or Sprite.
7-Up or Sprite?
Yeah.
I've never actually had 7-Up before. I've had Sprite.
Alright, so we'll end it there. Thank you guys. Round of applause, everybody. Okay, so next 2 people is going to be Potato and Kelsey. Whenever you're ready.
Hi, Potato.
What up?
What's your favorite color?
Yellow. It's also the
Nice.
color of pea, which is funny.
That's pretty funny.
I know, I'm a master comedian. I need an award.
Okay. Well, how long have you been playing VRChat?
I don't know, a couple months. Maybe.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about VRChat?
I hate everything about this game.
Wow. Pretty good. So, what was the last vacation you went on?
I don't go on vacation.
Cool. If you could go on vacation, where would you go?
I want to go to Florida and see my cousin.
Okay. Do they live by the beach?
No, they live in a swamp-ish place.
They live in a swamp in Florida?
No, not like directly into swamp. It's just like muddy there, and it smells like horse shit. I've
you
only
wanna go
been
to-
there once.
So you want to go to a swamp that smells like horse shit for vacation?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. Mhm.
Okay, we'll end it there. So, Tron doesn't talk, and Brian's AFK, so comment I will be your partner. So we'll go to the center.
This
Did
feels
I
like
win
cheating a little
yet?
bit, but okay.
Yeah,
you're one
maybe
of a
it's a little
kind.
cheating, but, you know, it happens. Alright,
Although,
Nice.
okay,
Center.
I think it's okay though, because I think I would actually be okay with this exercise. I'm a chatter, so it's alright. We can cheat a little bit.
okay.
She's a VR
Alright.
chatter.
So
Not-
what'd you do today?
Maybe. I took a nap. I woke up. Oh my god! I woke up like early today, like a normal human being, and then I took a nap. But it's okay because I woke up like a normal human being.
Hmm.
And I got Mexican food today.
I don't
What
like
did you
Mexican
eat?
food
You ate
that
today,
much.
right?
I like Mexican food, but like, obviously it makes my stomach hurt after because
Wait.
I like spicy food too. So it's like, I don't know. It's like a mixture of like I love
Honestly,
it.
my
But I hate
Mexican food wasn't that good. I was kind of really disappointed with it, but you
There
know.
used to be this Mexican restaurant that my family used to go to back in my hometown. It's this really small strip mall, like really really small. And my sister and I used to dare each other to drink hot sauce. Like, 'cause, you know, Mexican restaurants, they have hot sauce on the side almost always. We used to like take spoonfuls of hot sauce and just like drink them like shots, just for fun. So my family like really likes
I
spicy
could
food
never
in general.
drink hot sauce like a shot. Oh my god.
I mean, I like
Also,
putting
my
it in, like,
mom just entered the
tacos.
room, so say hi. No, I'm just in the middle of it. I'm literally standing in the middle of a circle of people talking. Sorry.
That's okay.
Say hi to my mom. She's really nice.
Hello, mother.
Hi, Mom.
Hello. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Of course, like the one time that I'm literally standing in the middle of a ring of people, my mom comes down and decides
you-
to talk to me.
Do you like
um,
guacamole?
I actually have never tried guacamole, if
I
I'm
like
honest.
guacamole.
I've not tried like avocados.
You want
So
to hear something crazy? So I got Taco Bell
But-
the other day, and there was an option on DoorDash to get guacamole onto the taco. So I did, right? And you know how normally guacamole oxidizes and like turns like a darker color, like if you leave it out for too long. So the,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
taco I had left on the counter, like to do like for like, you know, when you do dishes, I just leave like my dish on in the sink for a while, and it came back a couple hours later, and it was still the same bright green color. So just so everybody knows, there's probably
did
no
they add, like,
avocados.
did they add like something in it to make it not oxidize?
I don't know. It's I just know avocados oxidize. All right.
They do. They do.
We'll-
they
we'll
might
cut
have added like
ours-
lemon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. We'll cut our conversation there, and everyone can go ahead and
Okay.
join back on me, and we'll talk about it back at the classroom. Good job, everybody. Give yourselves
Literally,
a
as soon as
pat
we
on
ended the
back.
conversation, my mom left the room, so that was cool. She just decided to stay in here while I was supposed to be talking.
Mm. All right, everyone, back to your seats. Welcome back, everybody.
I'm sorry if you hear my birds.
It was much easier to
So
do that
proud.
without
I
having
thought that was a
distractions.
whip
If there was more
crack.
people, the distractions might have been a little more
Right?
difficult.
I thought I heard a whip crack in the background.
No, no whip cracks. I am
Alright.
birds though, so they're loud.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So, let's ask you guys a few questions. So, was it hard to focus on your objective of having the conversation? Ash?
Bro, Potato was dancing so much I could hardly breathe and I could barely concentrate on the person I was talking to.
Right, so it was a visual
I don't
distraction.
remember them anymore.
What would it be if...
That's what I call
Could you
getting
imagine
skeeted on.
if it was a visual distraction and an audible distraction as well? Do you think that'd be very overwhelming for you?
What would I imagine if it was an audible distraction? I would just imagine someone just playing ear rape while he was dancing.
Right. Okay, so anybody else?
Wait, was I allowed to do that?
That was gonna be the initial objective, but I decided instead just to have it to be a two-person conversation with no distractions on the outside besides people talking or focusing on them. So anybody else? Comment?
I kind of had the initial initial plan of talking while other people are around you talking. I can say that it was really difficult, but talking to you one-on-one whenever I didn't have other people in the room was fairly easy. But like I said, I'm a chatter, so.
Alright, anybody else? Did anyone feel like they were simulating their own distractions even though nobody was talking? Ash?
So I was just kind of thinking that like people around me just staring at me, and sometimes I have those feelings that people are staring at me and I hate it.
Right. Anybody else? Did anyone feel like it would have been easier to have the conversation if nobody was around? No, it'd be kind of the same thing. Do you think that your brain would have projected images of other people if you were having the conversation? Does anybody have that kind of fear where it's like, okay, is anybody listening to my conversation, even if nobody was around?
I do, but only because my house is so small. I just hear everybody hears my conversation.
Right. So when you're talking to like Brian or somebody online, it's like, okay, so someone hear me talking. So,
Yeah.
right. So did anybody feel anxious during the conversations? Did anybody feel like it was too much at all at any point?
I just felt like it was hard to carry on the conversation.
Right. It's hard to actually just
Like,
come
I
with
was
talk with
really
someone you
trying
don't know
really
too much.
hard.
Right. Right. So obviously, another thing I want to point out is there was always somebody in each group that was feeding off the other person's conversation, right? So the main topics that was brought up in the beginning, did anybody feel like they strayed from the first topic because they had nothing else to talk about? Okay, good.
I
So-
forget what my first topic was.
Do you remember last week when we did the rapid fire questions, where we were helping our brains train to come up with a new question, a new topic? So some of you might have even implemented that into our exercise just now. If you are able to think on your toes and come up with a new question, you can carry the conversation yourself. That's what's kind of tying into the one-on-one conversation there. We're just throwing in an environment that simulates people around you and pressure. So how do you continue a conversation that you don't have any more topics to talk about? Everyone's got to have been at that point at some point where they are talking to someone they have nothing else to talk about.
Wait, what's the question again?
How would you continue a conversation that you have no idea what else to talk about next? What's the first thing that comes to your mind that you should do? You've already said everything you need to say. Comment?
My first instinct, if somebody if I can't carry on a conversation anymore, usually I'm the one driving it because like I said, I talk a lot.
Right.
So my first thing would be do you have any questions for me? And
Okay.
try and get them to engage more or
Right.
something like that.
Right. That's what I'm looking for. We want to give them room to talk on themselves, about themselves, right? we want to give them the opportunity. Because if we're the one bombarding them with questions over and over again, so for instance, Kelsey and Potato, right? Kelsey was the one driving that conversation with almost every question. Kelsey was giving adequate room for Potato to elaborate on what he mentioned, right? So Kelsey could have easily said, "What are you going? What was your last vacation?" Right? And he mentioned that he wanted to go to Florida. Kelsey then, off of what he responded, Kelsey then brought another question along the lines, which was like, "Why Florida?" Right? Or what was it? Something about his cousin, right?
He said he couldn't go to a. He hasn't been on vacation, so I asked him where he wouldn't go. Where he would go.
Right. So Kelsey's evolving the conversation, but using that original topic to keep the conversation going. So if you give somebody space to answer your questions and to elaborate, that'll then strike some inspiration in you to ask a question along that topic. So it's important to give them space to speak as well. With that being said, when we were standing there having that conversation, do you think it would have been harder if people were talking around you, or easier? Comment?
Harder.
I kind of think it would be easier if people were talking around me, because then you can pull things of what they're saying into your conversation if you lose track of what to say.
Okay. Kind of like there's like an information bubble around you, and that information bubble is kind of like you can pick and choose from that cloud what you want to bring into your conversation. Okay. Elsie?
I would say it would be harder because I would be comparing my conversation with my one-on-one person to somebody else's conversation, and I would think that like the person I'm talking to is not enjoying our conversation because maybe they're like listening into somebody else's conversation, right?
Right.
Like they have a better conversation than us.
Okay. So, for me, I'll share with you guys my opinion. So when I'm sitting in a room having a conversation with somebody else, and there's other people around me having conversations, I feel normal, right? I feel like I belong in this conversation because everyone else around me is also having conversations. So I feel pretty okay. I'd rather have everybody around me talking than me talking to one person and nobody else around me talking. So take a public world, for instance, right? Everyone's joined a great pug where nobody's talking, right? Everyone's joined a great pug where everyone's just kind of running around doing whatever. For me, it's really uncomfortable for me to approach somebody in that kind of environment. But if we're at the pug and everybody's having conversation and I go and talk to somebody, I feel way more comfortable because I know that my conversation is being drowned out by other people's. So I don't think, okay, it's just this person listening to my conversation. This is good. This is good. It's just one person listening to my conversation. But if the room is quiet and I'm talking to one person, then I get really confused because I'm afraid that other people are listening to my conversation, right? It kind of really disturbs me because I feel like they're all honing in on my conversation. So the exercise we just did, everybody was listening to your conversation. And that kind of pressure for me makes it difficult. So Comet, being somebody I'm very comfortable with because I talk to Comet almost every day, even in that kind of conversation where we're, one-on-one, it makes me kind of anxious because I know everybody around me is listening. So just a little food for thought, that everybody is a little different. They handle it. Kelsey?
I feel like the ideal conversation would be like if I was talking in a pub, like, I'm speaking maybe like 10 people around and it's just like one-on-one, and then somebody like intervenes and like continues talking about the same topic we are, because then it gives me like ease that my conversation's good, right?
Right.
Instead of like people having multiple conversations around me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. There's definitely different personalities that come into play there. I feel like more timid people would rather have a conversation with other people around them versus people who are more outgoing and like to be the center of attention, don't mind talking to people when there's nobody else around them talking. So would you guys have preferred having everybody around during that little specific exercise? So we pretty much know each other in this room, right? We're very familiar with each other. If you didn't know anybody in that, would that have been more difficult? If the only person you knew was the person you were talking to and everyone else? Right. So the strangers that Comet brought before, when it's a stranger, it gets a little more difficult. That's kind of how the environment we're trying to simulate, but with knowing each other, it makes it a little bit easier. In the future, we are going to try our best to broaden our horizons as far as meeting strangers goes. So next week, The plan for next week is we're gonna have a guest speaker come and converse with us. We're gonna ask him a couple questions. His name is Walter. He is a pretty big streamer, and he specializes in things like body language. What was it? Bilingual biology or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
His main thing is he studies body language in VRChat.
Right.
So it's a lot about like.
So he'll be a great person we can get opinions from, and you guys are gonna be free to ask him questions. I have a few questions for him myself, which will be the first questions we'll ask him. He's gonna also have a presentation himself about how he deals with situations and anxiety on his own terms. So that's gonna be really exciting for next week. Next week we won't have any group activity because that's gonna be the group activity. With that being said, the following week we're planning to have a bit of a party. We're gonna have a VRChat prom. So there will not be a club meeting on that day. We're just gonna celebrate and have a good time. Get a little break from the classroom and such. With that being said, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. With that being said,
God bless
Like
you,
my
child.
sister.
this week's homework, which was a suggestion from Kelsey,
It's pretty
is
poggers.
we're going to have an extended question answer. So obviously the joining on friends hasn't been working too well. I understand everyone's on different times and schedules and such, but there will be a question posted in the No Friends announcements. That is going to be your question that you have to answer for the week. Your reply, if you're uncomfortable with it being public, does not have to be public. So you could DM me your reply, but I would prefer if it was public. So in the general chat of our club, I would like you to @ me with the answer. So put the question that I put, and then enter, and then the answer for my question. I would like a pretty decent extended answer, something that, not just like a yes or no. It's definitely gonna be a more elaborated question, but this will help me get to know you guys more on a personal level as far as dealing with your anxiety goes. It'll be similar to the question of the day, but it's gonna be more like Kelsey said, a question of the week, which will get you guys to kind of feel more comfortable answering more in-depth questions. So that's your homework. Making sure I know everybody here. This is pretty easy since we have a small class today. But that is going to be it for the class. We have the Battle Disc tournament coming up like in 5 minutes. So those of you who are playing in it, it's going to be super fun. I know that Vision's playing, Kelsey's playing, Comet's playing. Ash said he couldn't find a teammate, so Kelsey?
If Brian doesn't get home, the group I'm against is just gonna have to move forward.
Okay,
I know he left, but I don't know how fast he'll get home.
Okay.
So.
I have a
Okay,
question.
gotcha. What's up?
I don't know anything about what this is. I was just wanted to see what my boy Ash was doing.
Alexa.
So I have no clue.
Stop.
Me either.
You're all
don't know
good.
why.
Can
No
I get
problem.
Some context, por favor.
The No Friends Club is a antisocial club that's focused on making friends. And our objective is helping people with social anxiety. What's up, Ash?
My question is for the whole club. How do you simulate that people are not there when you're like talking to someone and like everyone's just staring at you?
So how do you block out people, is what you're saying? Like, how do you ignore people on the outside? So that's a pretty hard thing to do. It's definitely something that takes a lot of practice, right? So in situations like how we were just doing that little exercise we were doing now, it helps to have kind of this voice in your head that kind of reassures you, okay, that nobody else around cares. Just focus on you and this guy right now. So internally telling yourself that nobody else cares, it's just me and this guy, me and this person I'm talking to. This is the only thing that matters to me right now, is just this that's happening in front of me. So you want to train yourself to really just focus on one thing at a time. If you let yourself focus on multiple things, like, oh my gosh, there's a poster there, there's an entrance there, there's a person here, that's how you overwhelm yourself and give yourself a panic attack. So one thing at a time. Everything that you do, take everything one thing at a time, and eventually when you get to your conversations, you'll take your conversation one thing at a time, which means you can only focus on that one person at a time. Kelsey?
That goes into the quote of the week. It says when you're hitting a wall, focus on one brick at a time.
Exactly. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you for pointing that out. I forgot to actually mention that. I forgot that was there.
Had to say.
Right.
I have
Right.
to add on to that, like what I would do is that if I'm in an open area,
Mhm.
like an open environment, like outside, I just put on my sunglasses and actively look somewhere else.
Okay.
So that way with the sunglasses, it doesn't appear as you being rude.
Right.
You also get to zone out physically seeing them.
Understandable. Okay. Kelsey?
I was just gonna say, like when I'm having a one-on-one conversation and there's people around me, and a thing that I like to do to try to like draw out everybody that I might be listening in on me is that I have to keep the conversation going, because if I have any like kind of awkward silence, I start to get really anxious, and then I just go downhill from there.
Right.
So I just really focus on what I'm gonna say next, what I'm gonna say next, what I'm gonna say next. Right?
Exactly. The one step at a time, the one brick at a time, right? Because when you're alone with thoughts and there's an awkward silence, that's when you get the manic racing that happens. That's how you say, oh my gosh, what do I do next? What do I do next? This is so awkward. I gotta get out of this right now. But yeah, very good add-on. So we do have to get out of here. We have 2 minutes for until the tournament. So thank everybody for coming. Remember to make sure you invite your friends. Anyone that you think could use some help, reach out to them.